Hello everyone, Loremaster of Sotek here, and we got more start positions to cover, baby. There is so much going on. Since I was not around yesterday, I'm gonna go ahead and just do Norsca and Kislev today, because they're all right next to each other, and it just makes life easier and yada yada. So, without further ado, why don't we go ahead and start with Norsca, since they came out yesterday. So, as far as Norsca goes, really not too much to say. They barely change positions. Throg looks like he's basically in the exact same place. I think the name of the settlement he's in has changed a little bit. I think he's at the Tower of Flesh, or maybe that's where Wolfric is, or the Monolith of Flesh, I should say, not Tower, Monolith. But they both start at monoliths, and where Throg looks like he's still on the northern coast of Norsca, so he has easy access to the Kraken Sea to do whatever it is he's going to be up to. Wolfric has actually moved a little bit. So Wolfric looks like he's moved more towards the interior. So he's left, originally he was more right around here-ish. So he was on the Sea of Claws, so that you were able, if you wanted, to just go straight to the Empire. But now it looks like he's moved more to the interior of Norsca and closer to the western shore, where presumably he's going to be focusing on taking over Norsca, and then you go from there. For Norsca, I think these start positions are fine. Like, I think they're great. I did definitely see a lot of people making predictions about Norsca and thinking that maybe Wolfric was going to start down in Lustria. I think it's... Ooh, gosh, I want to say it's right over here is Skeggy, just right over here. But to me, Skeggy, I don't know. I was never really able to get on Team Skeggy. I felt it was just way too squished in there with Mazda Mundi. Like, you would barely have any space to those two characters, and they would kind of be forced to kill one another incredibly fast. Whereas, like, the spacing right now seems a little better. Between all the characters we've seen so far, though we'll have to wait and see how things continue to pan out into the future. But I think for Norsca, it's kind of an interesting dilemma, so to speak, as Norsca, at least in its current iteration, relies rather heavily on the concept of conquering Norsca, and then once you have really established a foothold in the frozen, your frozen homeland, then you spread out across the rest of the world and start messing people up. So I don't think moving Wolfric to Skeggy actually would have been a good idea. I think that actually would have been a terrible idea, because you basically would have been forced to fight in an area where there are no other Norskins, so there is nobody for you to beat up and confederate with, because you have this whole concept with Norsca of confederation by beating the snot out of everyone, but that requires other members of your faction to be nearby. And that just isn't the case for Norsca if they left their homeland, at least right now. I will say that I'm not expecting Norsca to get too much attention in Immortal Empires right at the start. We know that the Warriors of Chaos rework is going to be releasing alongside Immortal Empires as part of 2.0, and it's also going to be releasing alongside the first notable DLC for Total War Warhammer 3, which is basically guaranteed to be Champions of Chaos, which is going to be Warriors of Chaos themed, most likely. So when we're kind of looking at all of this, Norsca, I assume, will receive some major update in the future, but just not right now, because there's only so much that can be done at a time. And I think between putting this entire world together, moving all these different factions around, and like updating everyone so that they're playable, Norsca, I don't think actually needs that much love to be playable. If they could give them the ability to just like take any settlement instead of just ports, and maybe improve their god-specific trees to make them a bit more interesting, especially because there's actual mono-god factions running around. So if you dedicate to a single god, you figure that you get some kind of bonuses that involve maybe those factions or features that those factions possess. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the Norsca start positions. as I've said, I do think that hopefully we will get some kind of major update for Norsca in the future. I would love to see a Norsca DLC that brings us Muna Mem, the Famir matriarch character I've talked about on a video a few weeks back. That was Games Workshop recently unveiled through Cubicle 7. But there's also notable other famous Norscan characters that exist out in the world who could all be pretty interesting. But and maybe those could be somewhere else in the world. But for right now, I think that Norsca is fine. I'm much more interested on kind of getting them stable, so to speak. When it comes to Wulfric, for me personally, I don't think moving his start position is a good solution to the Wulfric problem. I think when it comes to Wulfric, the thing that we actually want is for Wulfric to get a mechanic where he can teleport around the world. Something I've kind of been thinking a lot about when it comes to Wulfric's world walking is, so for those unfamiliar, Wulfric the Wanderer, just like Nakai owning that term, he's called that because he goes a lot of places, but Wulfric does not typically travel through mundane means. His longship it has an enchanted oh god, I forget what it's called, the head of the ship, like the little cool icon you have on the front of a longship. I forget what the official term is, but his is an enchanted piece that allows the longship to teleport to different bodies of water across the world. And that's how he gets around primarily, is that his ship is able to sail through the realm of chaos itself and appear in new places. And the reason he does that is because Wulfric has been cursed by the dark gods to be the eternal challenger, because he was an idiot once, and when he was super duper drunk, he boasted about how he was like the greatest fighter and that no one would ever beat him, and the dark gods were like, okay, bet. And so they cursed him that he has to just eternally run around looking for basically the gods will be like, hey, this guy's been talking smack, or this guy is someone who has proven worthy of your sword. Go fight this person and show us you're still the best. And he's compelled to do that. He can't, he has to go. So I think it would be much better to represent that through a mechanic, not a start position. Because from what I heard, that kind of seemed to be the main push for Skeggi, was just different for the sake of different, and being like, well, he wanders the world, so why not put him in Skeggi, since Skeggi's a Norscan settlement. And while I don't think that in and of itself is a bad line of logic, I think when you kind of look at it from the perspective of how Norsca functions, in that you're really supposed to unify the continent, or the country, I guess, as quickly as you can. And then once you kind of control this territory and you have all your allies and everything set out, then you're kind of supposed to go and start raiding. But I am very interested to see what they're going to do with Norsca. I will say that I hope Wulfric... Throg, I don't think needs that much love. Like, for Throg, I would like to see some really cool gimmicks relating to trolls. Maybe with the new allegiance system, it'd be nice to see, like, if Throg recruits troll units, maybe they cost, like, significantly less allegiance points, or maybe he does not have a cap on how many allied trolls he can have in his army, stuff like that. That way, if he buddies up with greenskins, he's able to get their trolls. If he buddies up with the Warriors of Chaos, he can get armored Chaos trolls, stuff like that. But in any event, when it comes to Wulfric, the thing that comes to mind for me is maybe something like Oxyodal's mechanic, or maybe something... It depends. I think if your goal is to make it where he should teleport to go fight somebody, then my mind leans more towards Oxyodal, where it's you open up a menu and it shows you like places in the world where there are like an army that you're supposed to go fight, and you're able to click on them and it teleports you somewhere near them, or maybe teleports you to the nearest port near them. And the other system I thought was kind of more along the lines of the Wood Elf world route system, but instead of teleporting between forests, what if Wulfric had the ability to teleport between ports? So like he could see most or all of the ports in the world, and every certain amount of turns he's able to open up a menu and teleport his army from a port to another port. or something like that. Either maybe if he's on the ocean, he has the ability to teleport to other specific locations in the world's oceans, or if he's in a port settlement, he can teleport to any other port settlement to kind of give him that idea of his long ship sailing to the realm of chaos and landing in another body of water. Because the thing about him is he can't sail anywhere. He does have to land specifically in a water feature. Now, granted, in his own personal book, he will sometimes land in like lakes and stuff, but lakes, rivers, water features, but he's not able to just go anywhere. He has to land in a water feature and then go on foot from there. But so to me, the port idea sounds the most interesting, as far as like allowing him to travel. But I feel like if your goal is to emulate the World Walker aspect of Wulfric's character and lore, then the idea of getting missions to kill specific lords leading armies and then being able to teleport somewhere near them feels more thematic and interesting. But I don't know. Let me know what y'all think down below. I'd be really curious to hear y'all's feedback on that. And like I said, with Throg, just, I don't know, give me gimmicks that make me able to get more trolls, and like improve trolls in my army, even if they aren't Norscan based trolls. But I honestly, that for me, that does it. I think the start positions are fine. I mean, really, for Norsca, I think right as they currently exist, you are really heavily incentivized to try and dominate their nation, and then once you're unified, go out and raid the world. And I do feel that with their current start positions, you're kind of like gonna go at each other from the two different sides of Norsca. Either Throg or Wulfric wins, and then once somebody has claimed dominance over the Norscan homeland, you then pick, where do you want to go raid? You know, do you want to go raid the Empire? Do you want to go fight Kislev? Do you want to go north and challenge the powers of chaos? Do you sail west and fight against the Dark Elves? Do you sail east into the Chaos Wastes further and work your way over to Kislev or Cathay? You could go down to Bretonia, Albion, Ulthuan. I will say that I am extremely happy with how the map has been adjusted so that Norsca, like the old world, feels much more appropriately sized compared to the rest of the world. And the thing that I love the most is that Naggaroth is no longer like right here and Norsca is right here. I was not a fan of how close Norsca and Naggaroth used to be to each other, and how Hellebron would just almost immediately jump across that tiny little strait and start whooping everybody. Now, like, it's a much longer sail, and Hellebron is probably going to be much more inclined to be fighting against the forces of chaos in the Chaos Wastes, as opposed to just jumping straight across the ocean and going to war with Norsca. So there's a little bit more, I genuinely think this is going to help there be a bit more breathing room for Norsca to get established and unified and then go out and start fighting everyone. Though, of course, they are going to be quite a bit busier with Kislev as such a nearby starting enemy. Which, segue, let's talk about Kislev. I am pretty happy with the Kislev start positions. I'm super happy, actually, with the Kislev start position. So Katerin has stayed where she should. She's in Kislev City, also referred to as just Kislev, and that's a perfect start position for her. And then Kostaltin, I'm really happy that he moved a little bit. I don't know if Castle Alexandrov is still on the map, but I always thought it was kind of weird that he it made sense, I guess, but he always started in a minor settlement in the Realm of Chaos campaign, which felt, I don't know, a little unnecessarily painful, considering that, you know, owning one of those big cities is kind of an important requirement when your goal is to take over all of Kislev. So moving him to Erengrad, I think, is a really good move, because that still keeps him where he controls the Gulf of Kislev, and he is kind of gonna be the main face for dealing with Norsca. So when you have those Norscan forces trying to invade across the ocean, their primary big bad is almost assuredly going to be Kostaltin, because, you know, we've already seen the Empire characters. There doesn't seem to be any good guys along the, you know, this entire shoreline in the Empire. So kind of the major good guy who has to defend the old world against the Norskins is going to be Kostaltin, who frankly is a really good character for that. Erengrad is a really nice strong start position. It gives a lot of bonuses to trade. It's got a lot of money. And I think Kostaltin setting up shop there is just going to feel a lot better. Kislev, to my understanding, is still going to be the kind of whole thing where you have the 3 super cities and then you have a series of provinces that are made up of only minor settlements, with Troll Country, Northern Oblast, Eastern Oblast, and Southern Oblast. And then Prague, Erengrad, and Kislev are the big 3. But I like this a lot. And to me, it also gives a much better feeling as far as it's now a race between Kostaltin and Erengrad and Katerin and Kislev to kind of race for control of Prague, as like who can dominate the cursed city among the Kislevites first and foremost. I think that actually kind of adds a little bit more of an interesting narrative spin to it as far as their race is concerned, because it's like, oh, they can't directly attack one another, but kind of competing for that space, while of course dealing with Throth the Unclean, likely still in Hell Pit, being a nuisance from there. But I really like Kostaltin and Katerin's start position. And then there's Boris, and my God, I love Boris. I love Boris so much. The fact that Boris has left Zorn Uzkul, so he's left behind the Darklands, he's gone north, and north until he wound up in Bloodfire Falls, and it's just like, let's go. Let's go. Let's throw down chaos. Like, Boris just shows up riding Erskine, and the music from Doom starts playing as they just start slaughtering their way through demons and Warriors of Chaos and all those guys. So I love Boris's new start position. From what it looks like, that seems like it's going to be a very difficult campaign. I imagine it looks like he's right on the shoreline of the Frozen Sea. So I imagine you can just fall back very quickly and make your way down to either the Goromadi Mountains or the Giant Home Mountains, and then from there work your way down to the Eastern Oblast if you want to go straight home. But it looks like you're also going to be able to just push onwards and try and fight chaos on their own turf, and really take the fight to them, which I just love. Like, you've got Throg right there, so the Troll King is nearby. Prince Yuri is very, very close by up in the Eternal Lagoon or whatever that province is. And I really like having a potential throwdown between Prince Yuri and Boris, because let's be honest, like, Prince Yuri was Katerin's like childhood friend lover, and not only betrayed her but betrayed Ursus to become a demon prince. So like, he has attempted to kill Boris, Ursus's patron god, and he broke his daughter's heart and betrayed their nation for chaos. If there is anybody Boris probably wants to beat the shit out of, it is Prince Yuri. So I think for any dutiful fathers out there, the Boris campaign, one of your immediate objectives is to go kick the crap out of the Demon Prince character and show him who's boss. teach him a lesson at the end of Ice Shard. Yeah, I love Boris's start position. Personally, one of the campaigns I really want to do, if like, I don't know who I would play this with, but I'm probably going to want to stream a campaign with a friend. And for that stream campaign, I want to just do a co-op Doom Guy campaign where I play Oxiodal or Boris and the other person plays who I'm not playing. And like, okay, you got Boris, I got Oxiodal, and we just are punching the crap out of chaos in the north and south. It's I imagine these are probably the only two good guys that are going to start in the Chaos Waste. Could be that there's some others, but I struggle to think of who else would be so far north, though we'll have to wait and see. I think that's going to be it, but I love it. I absolutely love it. I think Oxiodal and Boris Ursus is probably going to be an extremely fun duo campaign for anyone out there trying to think of ideas of who would be cool to play together. Especially since Oxiodal could just wait for a mission that allows him to teleport near Boris, and then you could just be fighting through the Northern Chaos Way side by side, which would be also a lot of fun. Or at least with Oxiodal, all you have to do is wait till you get a mission nearby, go up there, set up a Silent Sanctum, and upgrade it so that it's the one you can teleport to as much as you want. So I love it. I think it's really fun. Like lore wise, like Boris could go damn near anywhere because, you know, he's supposed to be dead, but he's just kind of like, I died and then I got better or I died and then I lived. But so I'm really excited to see him up there. I think for him, fighting chaos should be his entire purpose. The Darklands start was, I don't know what, can you tell I woke up not super long ago because my voice keeps cracking, but I always was not a huge fan of Boris's start position in the Darklands. Like it worked from the sense of that part of the Darklands once belonged to Kislev. When the Gospodars originally migrated from the I believe they originate from near the Eastern Steppes, and they kind of moved their way to what is now Kislev and fought the Ungals for their native land. They conquered a lot of kind of Zorn Uzkul and the path to the east. So like this, and a little bit of the Skull Road, they owned a lot of this territory. And of course they lost it eventually as Chaos continued pushing south, and the Chaos Dwarfs grew to be a major power. But so like him being there, it worked, but to me it did not work as well in like modern times, so to speak. I think the idea of Boris kind of waking up from his death sleep and gathering, you know, the revivalists around him and being like, okay, well, I can't go home because I don't want to challenge my daughter's rule. Let her get more established, and then when the time comes, I'll return home. But for now, I'm going to push further north, and I'm going to go face chaos and cut them down before they can even threaten my homeland in the first place. To me, that fits what Boris would do. You know, Boris, I think, would absolutely fight his way north and just keep pushing. But obviously, when you take over as Boris, you can do whatever you want. I personally love the idea of continuing to fight onwards. But if you think that, like, if they give me a hero like a Patriarch or an Ice Witch or an Ice Maiden on turn 1, you better bet the first thing I'm doing is like sending them straight south so I can make contact with Katerin and be like, hey, daddy's alive, and let's get that diplomacy bonus going. But I love this. I think this is super great. I'm really excited I'm glad the Kislevite characters they're vaguely centralized, but you're gonna have different experiences with each of them. You know, if you're playing as Kostaltin, you immediately have to deal with the Sea of Claws and the Gulf of Kislev. So like you're gonna have raiders constantly flowing across the sea, which is gonna give you a lot of reason to team up with the Empire. Because like I bet Oslin and Nordlin are gonna be best buddies with Kostaltin, because it's you versus all of these raiders. But I think it's gonna be a very anti-Norsca campaign, and whatever else is gonna be crawling out of Norsca to fight us. Whereas with Katerin, I feel like you're going to be more focused on unifying Kislev and dealing with what's coming out of the mountains. So obviously you've got the Griffinwood nearby with Drycha, you've got vampires to the south. Throt the Unclean is going to be a threat to everybody from Hell Pit. But, you know, she's got to deal with whatever's going to be coming out of the Goramandi Mountains, which I imagine will be Norskins. But it could also be Warriors of Chaos. And then there's just so much stuff that could come from the mountains. There's so many like passes and everything that are going to be entering into Kislev that could be followed by antagonists, whether it be demons or warriors or greenskins or ogres. Man, isn't it so exciting to think of all the crazy... it's so crazy to think of all the things that could happen in the campaign now. Like, Realm of Chaos was cool, but it was fine. But you know, missing all those playable characters just kind of really restricted a lot of the excitement. As far as like now, if I'm playing Katerin, there's so many interesting threats to think about that are actually much more interesting, because in Realm of Chaos, the non-important characters, like even characters that were playable in prior games like Throt and Azhag and Manfred, in this game, in Warhammer 3's Realm of Chaos campaign, they were definitely very much toned down. Like they felt like non-playable characters in the sense of like their AI and how strong they were, and what they were capable of. It really felt like they were purposefully kept from having all of their features so that they could not be a major player in what was going on. Whereas in this, obviously, since there's no narrative event that's only focused on a few characters, you know, it's a free-for-all, and it's wild and crazy. So like if you're playing with Katerin, you got to deal with like, oh, there are these creepy there are these creepy forest spirits that hate humans that are starting to crawl out of the Griffin Wood, and we've got rumors of the vampires, you know, breaking out of Sylvania. Azhag is right next door, taking over the Northern's World's Edge Mountains, and you're gonna have to deal with him really quickly. But you do have Ungrim as a nearby ally, but then to the north, the Troll King is going after the Norscan dwarves and pushing his way south. And then, from the Eastern Oblast, we've got who knows what coming from the Skull Road and the Path to the East. And like, there's so many cool things that can happen. And it's like, there's like a chance for there to be actual wars now that you have to worry about. And with the full Chaos Waste, you could have some bad guy building up to be really powerful in the north, and they start invading down. You're like, oh crap. Or like, the Dark Elves have unified under Malekith, and they're sailing across the ocean. They've taken Albion. They've taken some of Norsca. They've taken some of the Empire. And now they're pressing down on Kislev. We got to hold them back. And like, I love it. I'm so excited. I am so excited. I'm going to sink thousands upon thousands upon thousands of hours into this game, and I don't see how it's going to get old, to be honest with you. I don't think that's possible for me. But anyway, I'm super wow. So the province next to Prince Yuri, between Yuri and Boris, is called the Noisome Tumor. That's a very distressing name for a place. I'm just saying. I don't like most of them. Like, yeah, you know, Plain of Illusions, Bloodfire Falls, Blood Marshes, sure, but the Noisome Tumor. Ugh. Let's not go there. It's a silly place. Anyway, that's gonna be it for me on this. I will be doing a live stream. By the time you see this video, probably 1 or 2 hours after this video goes live, probably 1 hour, if that, to be honest. Just because I gotta take a shower and stuff. I will be doing a live stream checking out patch 1.3, reading through the patch notes and chatting with you all about it, my thoughts. I've already seen one of the bugs in it that is hilarious and will hopefully get fixed very, very quickly, which is that hilarious shooting units can shoot through anything bug, which to be frank is a funny bug, and I'm glad it happened now and not in 2.0. But anyway, I hope you all have a lovely day. I'd love to see you drop by the live stream. Check me out at www.twitch.tv/Loremaster Sotek. I'll have links and stuff down below for anyone that's curious. And I'll see you guys. One last thing that I just wanted to say, because today is Friday. Tomorrow at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, I will, well, actually, they release these at 8 a.m., don't they? Okay, when I do it, 6 a.m. But I'm going to be releasing a new video tomorrow that I promise it's really good. It's really, really cool. A lot of work went into it, and it's a 30-minute lore video on a really cool subject. I'll just give you a hint that has something to do with gods, and I really, really hope you'll enjoy it. For those who support me on Patreon or Twitch, if you're a Twitch sub, or if you are a patron, you can watch it right now. You could have watched it days ago, because they're getting early access, and we're actually doing a good job of getting those out now. So anyway, yeah, be sure to drop by and check that out tomorrow morning, and I'll see you guys later today, and if not, when I see you. Bye.